My friends, I'm sorry to say the New Year's Eve book review is delayed till further notice. The project has encountered some setbacks. Now, some might speculate that I use the word setback here to hide the fact that I'm being or I'm just but I prefer if we don't resort to using such blunt terminology. If you came here for the book review, then please stay regardless. I'm not heartless enough to leave you empty-handed, not on such a special day. I may have screwed up New Year's Eve book review, but in place of that, we got New Year's Eve story time, and it's gonna be just as good, if not better, because boy, do I have a story to tell. Let me set the stage. It was the last few months of school, an era, if I may describe, as hectic, but more often dull and prosaic. You see, this is the moment where teachers began to not bother teaching. Even if they wanted to, we had an ace up our sleeve, a powerful spell which requires but only 6 words to cast. I have to do my, followed by either IA, EE, or TOK. Works like an OTK, they just concede on the spot. Now, what this means is, for the most part, we got all 8 hours of school to ourselves. Each day, every day, for about a month or so. Guess what we did with those 8 hours? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with, we didn't do our, what rhymes with jobs? Oh crap, I just gave it away. Yeah, we didn't do our jobs. It would have been impossible. Not even the most diligent student could have the stamina to sit in front of their laptops working 8 hours straight on some 4,000 word essay. Me personally, I spend about 1, 2, maybe 3 hours a day, and this leaves me with about 5, 6, maybe 7 hours to myself. Now this begs the question, what did I do with all this time? Well, to answer the question, 99% of the time, I roam around school. If you think that that's boring, then you're wrong, because it's actually more boring than it sounds. For the other 1%, I escaped school premises with my friend Will. Now Will here is on the same boat as I am. Lots of time, not much things to do, but unlike me, he's an experienced veteran. He showed me the ropes and together we plotted our first escape. The plan was simple. At about 1:45 p.m. is when the primary students get released. Both the lobby and the outdoor area would be packed, and this keeps the guards busy. And all we had to do was just walk out. We did just that, and everything went smooth as expected. Thus begins the tale of our grand escape. Once through the gates, we couldn't stay for long. An office building is right next door, and we had initially planned to spend our time there. I admit it's not the most ambitious of destinations. It was a safe but poor choice. Both of us had been to the office before, on separate occasions, so we quickly got bored. Will is the more ambitious of the two of us, and he pointed to this hospital, which was about 50 meters away, give or take, and he said, we should go there. I disagreed, said it wasn't a good idea, told him we should just go back. Really? After only 15 minutes? He taunted. I look at my phone with disbelief. Only 15 minutes have passed. I said, fuck it, I need to spend more time outside. Lead the way, and he graciously did. Problem: between us and the hospital lies a rogue road, and the cars zoomed by at top speed. There was no zebra crossing in sight. In fact, I am legit convinced that zebra crossings do not exist where I come from. Solution: there is a pedestrian overpass which connects directly from the office straight to the other side of the road. Problem: a security stands guard at the entrance of said overpass. Our adventure at this point draws parallels to the popular fantasy trope of trolls guarding bridges. If this were a D&D campaign, we would need a high roll on persuasion. While staying out of sight from behind a conveniently placed pillar, we stirred up a rather heated discussion over whom to sacrifice. I calmly explained that I'd most likely stumble over my words and proceededly suffer from a stroke mid-conversation. He seemed to not care, so I pushed him out of the pillar shadow and straight into line of sight. Will and the security locked eyes for what seemed like an eternity before he nervously approached the security's desk. Worst case scenario is we get reported for skipping school. Well, only Will, but not me. Thankfully, none of that happened. After a little bit of chit-chat, Will signaled over and we made it past the bridge. From here, the hospital was only a minute's walk away. We were eager to enter, particularly because we had been sweating the whole time. AC and shelter from the sun makes for a refreshing change. It is a public space, so technically we are allowed to enter. Problem is, 2 school kids entering a hospital midday, that's bound to raise a couple of eyebrows. So before we went in, I cautioned we should probably keep a low profile and try to stay the minimum amount of time. And boy, did we do the exact opposite of that. First of all, the hospital was a maze to explore. No matter which path we took, we ended up straight in front of the receptionist's desk. She looked rather concerned and was probably this close to calling security. Oh yeah, you can't see it, but I'm making that hand gesture where I place my index finger close to the thumb, so if you could just imagine what that looks like. Next thing we did was goof around on the escalators. See, the lobby has a pair of escalators which for some reason was unpowered, and also it was the kind of escalator that was just wide enough for only one person to stand in a row. So Will took one escalator and I took the other, and we climbed up the floor side by side. If the escalators were to suddenly power up, I said, one of us would fall. He looked at me with fear in his eyes. You just jinxed it, they appeared to say. And he ran up the second floor fast he could. I didn't buy it and calmly continued walking. Guess what? The engines, they started rolling. Will was already at the top, watching this spectacle unfold, my prophecy come alive. Spoiler alert though, I didn't fall off and crack my head. Although if it did happen, I would have just predicted my own death, and not gonna lie, that would have been pretty cool. Now I actually don't know who turned that damn machine on, but I'd like to believe that the receptionist glanced over, saw that we were playing around on the escalators, and went pressed a giant red button underneath her desk or something. She must have been like, I gotta get rid of these kids, man, they're starting to scare me a bit. As I safely made my way to the second floor, I see him laughing. Not because I nearly died, but rather at the joke that he had come up with. If you did fall, it would have been the perfect place to do so, he said. Get it? Because we were in a hospital. And that seems like a good place to stop. I have no more to say. Me and Will escaped school a couple more times, all within the same time period, and I plan to tell those tales as well. So yeah, other than that, book review is delayed till further notice, maybe February or March, but I don't want to make promises anymore. So until then, see you next time. Thanks for watching.